This is Good Morning Suncoast. We're here for you.
And good morning. It is Monday, July 31st. I'm Ray Collins. Jacqueline is off today, not feeling great, but John Scalzi is here. Good thing you are, because, John, I walked out the door and said, whoa, back inside for the umbrella.
Yeah, were you woken up by the thunderstorms during the overnight?
Didn't hear that, fortunately, but boy, this morning I got wet for a few seconds.
Yeah, there's a lot of standing water on some of the roadways out there this morning, Ray, and you're going to have to really take it easy. Disruptive weather this afternoon and this morning as well, as there is a possibility of as much as 4 inches of rain headed our way as we head into the afternoon. Satellite view shows clusters of clouds out in Gulf waters. That cluster of clouds out there has about a 40% chance, according to the National Hurricane Center, of developing significant tropical characteristics, maybe becoming even a tropical depression with time as we head into the afternoon. In any event, it doesn't matter if it does, because it has very limited amount of time before making it on shore. So the system is basically going to be a rainmaker, and boy, have we had a lot of rain already. You can definitely see the kind of circulation around that area of low pressure just off the Pinellas County coastline. It's gradually drifting in this direction. It is pulling up deep tropical moisture and leading to some very heavy rainfall and a few thunderstorms around as well, but mostly it's the heavy rainfall. We could get some rainfall, as much as 4 inches of rain, as we head into the later morning and into the afternoon as well. That will definitely lead to some ponding of water on roadways, and you can see just offshore there's some heavier showers beginning to make it on shore. Now, there's a very sharp gradient between the dry air to the north and the moist air over us, and I think some of that dry air will try to work its way in as we head into the evening. But you can see the precipitation forecasts over the next several days keep us in that over 5-inch range possible. And overnight tonight, we've had some heavy rainfall. As the Doppler estimates show, we've had some 3-inch rains in places. So as you head out the door this morning, if you're an early commuter, just watch for some of that standing water. That dry air, indicated by tan colorization, may also bring us a chance that some of the storms produce some gusty winds. That's a possibility in some of the thunderstorms that do develop, though severe weather is really not anticipated with this system as it approaches us. The forecast's a wet one, and that's not only today but over the next several days, although I think the amount of rain that we get starting tomorrow will start to decrease somewhat. For today, you can expect about 100% chance of showers as we head into the morning hours. Right?
Very definitive. Okay, thank you, John. Talk to you again soon. State Road 70 showing some buildup already this morning in the westbound lane between 75 and 301. Farther south now into Sarasota County, nothing much to speak of right there. And then farther south, though, we do see some issues on, first off, on 681 as you leave 41 and head towards 75, and also 41 southbound just south of Business 41. Topping our news this half hour, Mote Marine staff is trying to figure out why a group of dolphins uncommon to the Suncoast came ashore on Turtle Beach over the weekend. Most of them made it back into the water, but not all. Our Erica Jackson has the story.
What's not to like? All we see are all the wildlife, the sea turtles.
Rita Altman sees plenty of wildlife from her condo off Turtle Beach. But she and her partner, Jeff Jameson, were not expecting to see this sight Saturday afternoon.
It was obvious something was going on, and we came down, and this poor little dolphin.
The couple and other beachgoers found multiple dolphins beached along the shoreline. Spectators pushed back a majority of dolphins to shore, but Mote Marine Laboratory staff says that's not good for the animals. In a statement, Mote says marine mammals that strand are often sick or injured. They should stay on the beach until trained responders arrive.
Observe from a distance, respectful distance, and let people that know what they're doing handle the situation.
One dolphin did not make its way back into the water, even with help from Mote responders. Beachgoers tried to keep him comfortable by pouring water onto the nearly 7-foot-long mammal.
First instinct was run inside, go get my big containers and do something to help.
It's nice to see people trying to comfort the animals instead of, harassing them or taunting them or being disrespectful.
But a Mote veterinarian and NOAA's National Marine Fisheries Service found it was in the dolphin's best interest to euthanize the mammal.
It's very sad. It's also the cycle of life, but it's very sad. It's very sad to see the animals in distress.
Erica Jackson, ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
A necropsy on the dolphin didn't reveal any kind of sickness or injury, but Mote says a tissue analysis may provide more information. New developments this morning on a shooting over the weekend near Sarasota Memorial Hospital. Police say their investigation began when they were called to the hospital in reference to a patient with a gunshot wound.
Officers arrived on scene and began investigation and determined that the location of the incident may be the house here behind us, 2032 Arlington. And we currently believe we have all the parties involved, and we're continuing the investigation.
No word yet if charges will be filed. One person is dead, another critically injured after a fiery car crash in Manatee County. Police in Bradenton responded to a single vehicle crash about 3 a.m. Sunday morning on State Road 64 East. The driver and passenger had driven off the roadway and crashed into a wooded area before the car caught fire. Emergency personnel rushed one of the two victims to Blake Medical Center in critical but stable condition. The other victim did not survive and was pronounced dead at the scene. No names released yet as the investigation continues. A two-car crash over the weekend in Venice left one driver critically injured and another with serious injuries. FHP responded to the collision at Briarwood Road and Coconut Drive Saturday afternoon. Troopers say one of the drivers crossed into the other's path during a U-turn. The driver was flown to Sarasota Hospital. FHP says alcohol was not a factor in the crash, but charges, they say, are indeed pending. A well-known member of the local animal rescue community has passed away. Colleagues said that veterinarian Don Sarita died late last week. Dr. Don was the owner of Laurel Road Veterinary Clinic in Nokomis, but also helped several local wildlife rescue organizations on emergency calls and was known as a brilliant surgeon, especially with birds. Colleagues describe him as a unique and special vet who rarely said no to help sick and injured animals. They say he will be sorely missed. And a local business and animal shelter are teaming up to find good homes for animals in need. Satchel's Last Resort Animal Shelter and Sanctuary takes in animals that most shelters won't due to behavioral issues or a need for extensive medical care. When Toyota of Sarasota learned about the mission of the shelter, they decided to host an event this weekend.
Well, these are the animals that other places would ignore. We specialize in rescue and rehabilitation of medical and behavior animals. This little dog here was found abandoned at just 8 days of age and near death. She's her first time out. She's having fun. Anyways, we did rehabilitate her to give her a new home.
If you missed the event and still like to help, Satchel's Last Resort is on Koch Road, which is off Clark Road, east of the interstate. Under the Ringling Causeway, one of the two restrooms at Hart's Landing is now back open, and the second one isn't too far behind. The city of Sarasota says the Eloise Whirlin Park was becoming an eyesore, but it's now being updated thanks to the donations of Doc Whirlin. Now, more people are enjoying the space off of Sarasota Bay.
For improvements to get budgeted in the city's long-range plan. He's taken the initiative and the actions necessary to contribute and raise the funds to make improvements as he believes they need to be made, and he's been spot on in each and every one of them.
The city also plans to add lights to this park as well. Well, hard to believe, start of school is now less than 2 weeks away, and that means a fun end of summer bash was held over the weekend. This took place near Cattleman Road on South Packing House. It was hosted by the Backyard Oasis and the Inflation Station. It featured, as you see, large inflatable slides, bounce houses, obstacle courses, and even areas for parents to relax.
They're bigger and there's more of them, and yeah, they're more fun. There's more kids to hang out with.
The water slides are amazing. You get to cool off, everybody gets to have fun, and it's fairly priced and a good way for the kids to enjoy their summer.
The hosts of the event say they hope to continue to hold similar events for families throughout the school year on the Suncoast. A local Girl Scout has been awarded the highest award, a Gold Award, for her service to the community. Faith Holliday is the youngest Girl Scout to complete her project for the award. A lover of animals, the 14-year-old from Sarasota chose to help out her furry friends by building an agility course for Dante's Den Animal Rescue Shelter. This course features 2 jumps, weave pulls, and a teeter-totter as well. The project shows Faith's skills in leadership, teamwork, planning, and will certainly make a lasting impact on the animals as well. Good for her.
That's great. Isn't that
nice?
wonderful?
Good work. And there's Marsha out there as well. Wonderful.
And I'll tell you, those agility courses, they mean so much to a dog, believe it or not. I mean, we've had dogs that we've trained in agility, and it really does establish a great bond. It's good for them, too.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Well, I rarely hear you say 100% chance of rain.
That's right. Yeah, it's a no-brainer today. I mean, you look outside, and I've already made that forecast come true.
Yeah.
We've had periods of heavy rainfall in the forecast for the afternoon, and we're watching a system just offshore that could have tropical development. We'll talk about that in a second.
Also still ahead, a local teenager is heading to Washington to shine a light on his disease, one of the millions of Americans suffering from. And coming up a little later in the hour, a renewed focus on the White House agenda after the Chief of Staff shakes up how the administration plans to hit the reset button. Stay with us.
I took my first handful of pills, and that's when all my priorities seemed to change.
He would ask to use the bathroom in other people's homes.
He just assumed that they would have medication.
He'd go in their medicine cabinets and steal prescription drugs.
I wish I knew really what these prescription pills were.
We were so naive about the whole drug thing.
These are all synthetic forms of heroin.
Keep your medication locked up because you'll never notice that a pill is gone.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
Attention blood thinner users. If your loved one took Xarelto or Pradaxa and suffered serious internal bleeding, call right now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. The widely prescribed blood thinners Xarelto and Pradaxa have been linked to a number of dangerous side effects, including internal bleeding, gastrointestinal bleeding, kidney bleeding, stroke, brain hemorrhaging, and even death. If you or a loved one suffered any of these injuries after taking Xarelto or Pradaxa, call right now. You may be owed significant compensation from the manufacturer. Thousands of blood thinner users may have been exposed to serious risk by these dangerous medications. If you or a loved one took Xarelto or Pradaxa and suffered serious internal bleeding, call right now. Call Nightline Legal to speak with an experienced attorney for a free consultation. If we don't win, there is no fee. There are time deadlines to file a claim, so don't wait. Call right now.
Call 1-800-554-3987. Again, that's 1-800-554-3987.
There was this big bruise on my friend's face. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to think her own nephew could have hit her.
I didn't want to see it. My mother's bank account was emptied, and a caregiver had taken control of it.
I didn't want to see it. My father's refrigerator, there was hardly anything in it. That's unusual for him.
It's tough to see that a senior citizen is being abused, physically, emotionally, sexually, or financially. Elder abuse is a crime.
So see the signs. Stop the crimes.
A promise was made, a promise that hit the beaches of Normandy, a vow that captured Iwo Jima, a contract that weathered Tet, a pledge that stormed the desert in Iraq, an IOU that braved IEDs in Kandahar. A promise was made to America's veterans. DAV fights to keep that promise, so all veterans and their families get the benefits and support they earned. For help, visit DAV.org.
Now, the official Suncoast weather with ABC7 meteorologist John Scalzi.
A lot of things going on in the weather department today. So we've got a system that could develop into maybe a tropical depression as it heads closer to our area later in the afternoon. Pretty quick development there. Yesterday, the Hurricane Center gave it 20%. Today, this morning, 40%. Now, it doesn't have much time before it makes it on shore, but it still could produce a little bit of a breezy condition this afternoon. We have a small craft advisory in effect, and we certainly have some heavy rain falling across the Suncoast. We have right now 74-degree air temperature. Dew point is at 72. Southeast wind at about 8, but those winds will be increasing this afternoon and coming out of the southwest. Because they'll be coming out of the southwest, onshore winds, and they will be breezy, we have a rip current advisory as well. So it's not going to be a great day for being out there in the water. It's going to be a lousy day. So if you're a boater, small craft advisories are up. Stay in port. 76 Wauchula, Arcadia, 76 Bradenton Parish, Lakewood Ranch. Everywhere you look, temperatures fairly uniform because of all the rain shower activity. Now, this is a pretty impressive radar view, and what it's showing here is a frontal boundary sinking southward, stalling out, and then a little bit of a swirl in the radar image. You can kind of make that out in the last few frames right there, this kind of motion here. And it's gradually getting closer to shore. Now, later this afternoon, I think this system will be onshore, so there's very little time for it to develop any kind of tropical characteristics. So, this is basically going to be a rain producer. And by the way, even if it did develop into a tropical depression, it's not the kind of thing that's going to, blow houses away or anything like that. I know when we talk about tropical systems, a lot of times, it really kind of ratchets up the rhetoric a little. But this system is basically a rain producer. Now, that's not to say it doesn't have any effect on the Suncoast. It certainly does. Standing water is going to be a big issue. Heavy downpours of rain saturating the ground could also bring down some trees as well, especially since we have heavy rain anticipated over the next several days. Though, once that system makes it onshore, the persistent heavy rains that we saw during the overnight will probably lessen and the showers will become a little bit more intermittent. But right now we have some heavy showers just off the coast, so Venice, you're about to get hit by these storms that are moving onshore, producing 2-inch-per-hour rainfalls possibly. And then another cluster of showers moving closer to Sarasota, Bradenton, about 45 minutes away. So the morning commute is going to be a sloppy mess, basically. And it's going to be disruptive weather. So allow yourself a little extra time for your morning commute. Anticipate that some of the roadways may have some standing water left over from some of these impressive overnight rainfall totals. And anticipate that there may be some more heavy rain coming our way as we head into the mid-morning. There's the cluster of storms that has the potential for some development. Right now, a low-pressure area slowly organizing, moving along a stalled frontal boundary, pulling up moisture from the south is the culprit that's produced our heavy overnight rain. That low will gradually drift across the state by later tonight, certainly into early tomorrow morning, and we'll have some heavy rains possible, especially during the first half of the day today. After about 11, 12 o'clock, I think our chances of heavier rain start to diminish. Onshore winds will be strong. Isolated stronger storms are possible. It's probably not a severe weather event, but certainly with the dry air located just to our north, it is possible that some of that dry air wrapping into some of those thunderstorms could produce some gustier winds, so we'll watch for that. Otherwise, it's going to be a wet one. Take your umbrella with you, allow some extra time for your morning commute, ease up off the gas pedal, and watch for standing water on roadways. Tomorrow, the rain chances go down a bit, 60%. There'll still be some storms around, and we may get a peek at the sun as well. By the end of the work week, we will be back to our average kind of weather. But this will probably be 2 or 3 days of enhanced rainfall chances, Ray.
All right, John, talk to you again soon. Thank you. There's the situation right now. Don't forget all the wet roads out there. Take extra time and extra caution as you leave this morning. It's going to take you a little longer due to the ponding and the slick roads out there. Nothing much to report traffic-wise this hour of the day. And checking our farthest south map, we'll see that earlier buildup has since dissipated on US 41. Well, lost among the headlines about health care on Capitol Hill is the story of a local teenager fighting for research dollars there. As our Erica Jackson tells us, he has special motivation.
Dozens of kids and teens are returning from Washington after lobbying for more type 1 diabetes research. One of them is from here in Sarasota, and he wants Congress to continue to support funding to help find a cure. In between jam sessions, 15-year-old Reed Spahn takes a quick break to check his blood sugar readings. That's because he has type 1 diabetes and his body can't break down glucose due to an inactive pancreas.
It really destroys all the organs in the body if they have those high blood sugars running all the time.
His meter reads 247 because he just ate lunch.
And I believe the insulin pump and the CGM have made my numbers much more manageable.
But Reed only needs to prick his finger about 3 times a day because his continuous glucose monitoring system, or CGM, takes blood sugar readings every 5 minutes while attached to his body.
With the CGM, I can see my numbers constantly, helps with overnight care.
It takes a blood glucose reading every 5 minutes and transmits it to
his phone and our phones as well so that we can see what his blood sugar is.
Reed and his mother Stacy say the latest technology was developed thanks to the Special Diabetes Program, a federal measure providing $150 million per year for type 1 diabetes research. The goal is to help find better treatment, therapies, and eventually a cure.
Even though we've got all this great new technology, there are still really scary, real health risks that are involved with type 1 diabetes.
Reed and others living with diabetes spent 3 days in the U.S. Capitol, asking Congress to renew the program instead of letting it expire later this year.
Spreading awareness for type 1 is extremely important because then it informs people about how difficult it really is and how much we really need to increase funding for research for a cure.
The Special Diabetes Program is set to expire on September 30th if Congress does not renew that research program. Reporting in Sarasota, Erica Jackson, ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
You can tell that Reed has a bright future. Still ahead on Good Morning Suncoast, we'll tell you what major American city is now banning texting while crossing the street. And later, we'll tell you why a man punched a valet parking attendant in Fort Lauderdale. That story at 5:36.
Being the caregiver for my husband is truly a blessing, but sometimes it's easy to lose a part of myself. To be my best, for him and for me, it's important to have time to be able to recharge. When I called Tidewell Hospice, they gave me the chance to do just that. They helped me find the time to care for myself, all the while with the peace of mind of knowing my husband is in the very best hands. Tidewell Hospice, it's more than you think.
I'm calling in regards about my mother, and I'm here, and I just want to thank you because it saved my mother's life yesterday. And I'd like to know the names of the people that came in and saved her so I could call and thank them. And she's doing fine. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you.
When you fall and cannot get up, an accident can turn into a tragedy. But with Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast. Life Alert saves a person from a catastrophe every 10 minutes.
Life Alert is a lifesaver. If it weren't for Life Alert, I wouldn't be sitting here today.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-652-3012. That's 1-800-652-3012. Call now 1-800-652-3012. For a free brochure, call 1-800-652-3012.
I witnessed him have 2 heart attacks in ICU. He went through seizures.
We'd much rather have Aaron like this than dead. A lot of parents don't have that luxury.
He can't talk. He can't walk. This is a condition Aaron will live with for the rest of his life because he abused prescription pills.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
And here's a live picture of the scene at Bee Ridge and Tuttle. Not a lot of cars, but you will see the roads are indeed wet. Heavy rain across the Suncoast, a 100% chance of rain. Easy to follow that direction. Grab the umbrella and take time on the roadways this morning. We're at 5:23 right now. If you've got any good pictures of the ponding or the flooding, hopefully no flooding rather, but just water building up rather in certain spots, send a picture our way. You can write to any of us at the Facebook addresses listed there on your screen, and we'll share your picture on TV. 5:24 right now on this rainy Monday morning. Twitter is now testing a premium subscription plan. ABC's Diane Macedo and Candace Gibson have that and more in today's Tech Bites.
In today's Tech Bites, paying for Twitter.
In a bid to boost its ad revenue, the social media giant is testing a premium subscription plan for $99 a month. Twitter would automatically promote subscribers' tweets onto the timelines of people who don't follow them.
Honolulu is the first major U.S. city to ban texting while crossing the street. The new distracted walking law takes effect in October.
Now, if you are caught strolling through an intersection while texting, you could face a fine of up to $99. And the producers of the Emoji Movie may be laughing out loud with tears of joy following an unexpectedly successful debut.
After getting hammered by critics, the Emojis raked in more than $25 million and clinched second place at the box office. Apparently kids don't care about all the negative reviews. They gave it a thumbs up.
Not logging on to Rotten Tomatoes.
No, not the kids today.
Those are your Tech Bites.
Tech Bites, brought to you by Brilinta.
We recently had a heart attack.
But we are not victims. We are survivors.
We are survivors.
We are survivors.
And now we take Brilinta.
For people who've been hospitalized for a heart attack, we take Brilinta with a baby aspirin.
No more than 100 milligrams, as it affects how well Brilinta works.
Brilinta helps keep platelets from sticking together and forming a clot. In a clinical study, Brilinta worked better than Plavix.
Brilinta reduced the chance of another heart attack or dying from one.
Don't stop taking Brilinta without talking to your doctor, since stopping it too soon increases your risk of clots in your stent, heart attack, stroke, and even death. Brilinta may cause bruising or bleeding more easily, or serious, sometimes fatal bleeding. Don't take Brilinta if you have bleeding, like stomach ulcers, a history of bleeding in the brain, or severe liver problems. Slow heart rhythm has been reported. Tell your doctor about bleeding, new or unexpected shortness of breath, any planned surgery, and all medicines you take.
If you recently had a heart attack, ask your doctor about Brilinta.
My heart is worth Brilinta. If you can't afford your medication, AstraZeneca may be able to help.
The kitchen is where life happens. Minnesota Flooring now offers a wide variety of beautiful quality craft-made cabinetry to make sure the heart of your home reflects your style. Visit us today at our new kitchen and bath cabinetry locations.
Let me introduce you to the ultimate Florida window. Do you feel safer with this or this? You'll be proud too.
Going on now. For every 2 windows you buy, get 1 more free. Call today.
What if you had a medical emergency away from home?
My chest hurts. I can't breathe.
What you need is Mobile Help, America's premier mobile medical alert system. Most systems only work at home, but with Mobile Help, you get help outside the home with coverage nationwide on one of the largest cellular networks at the press of a button. Call the number on your screen for a free full-color brochure. We'll send you everything you need, including this base station, the patented mobile device, and the waterproof pendant and wrist button. You can also add the fall button that automatically detects falls and signals help. Call today and receive a risk-free 30-day trial. There is no equipment to buy and no long-term contract. For a limited time, you will also receive a free emergency key box with your plan purchase. Remember, Mobile Help keeps you safe coast to coast.
Call 1-800-916-8638. That's 1-800-916-8638.
I am the resident district manager on the FAU campus for Chartwell. Whenever I see Haley, I do not see a person with a disability. I see a person with extraordinary abilities. Haley is always smiling. She's always on time. She gives fantastic customer service and is always focused on any job that she's given.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Who else has been taking your prescriptions? Keep your medicine and your family safe and secure. Mind your meds. To learn how we can help, visit the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids at drugfree.org.
ABC 7's official Suncoast Hurricane Guide arms you with vital information you need when severe weather threatens the Suncoast. Download yours today at mysuncoast.com.
This half hour on Good Morning Suncoast, more tension between the U.S. and North Korea. We'll have the latest. Plus, a vacation mystery at a high-end resort in the Caribbean leaves a prominent lawyer being rushed to Florida for treatment. And the Buccaneers honor veterans as football season fast approaches. Those stories and more right now on Good Morning Suncoast.
Live from the ABC 7 studios, this is Good Morning Suncoast. We're here for you.
Well, you can tell the raindrops on our lens. That is indeed an issue out there. John says a 100% chance of rain today. That's a shot looking towards Sarasota Bay. You can't really see it right now. All you can see is one of the high-rise condos on US 41 across from the Van Wezel. That's 10th Street looking toward the west. And good morning. Glad you're with us. 5:30 right now. I'm Ray Collins. Jacqueline is off today. And John, I took a rare trip inside a local home improvement store. And one fellow was so nice, Jim said, please say hello to John Scalzi for me.
Jim's a good guy, I tell you. I know the home improvement store you're talking about, and I spend a lot of time there.
Oh, do you? Yeah.
I could just about get my mail there, I think. I probably have a coffee cup stashed somewhere there. Yeah, it was kind of a sloppy weekend, at least on Sunday, and getting any kind of outdoor activities done was challenging. But at least the cloud cover and the rain showers kind of held the temperatures down. Then overnight, the skies opened up, and boy, did it pour. We've had some 3-inch rainfalls here on the Suncoast, and definitely standing water is an issue. Now, we have a chance at some urban flooding. When I say that, what I'm talking about is the possibility of some low-lying areas, drainage ditches, things like that, getting filled with water, and the possibility of some slosh over onto roadways. If you're in a flood-prone area that oftentimes gets a little bit of flood water around when you get heavy rainfall, today might be your day. We're also seeing some ponding water on roadways, and just remember, it doesn't take much more than a 1/4 inch of rainwater standing on the roads to hydroplane your car. So take it easy out there. Ease up off that gas pedal. Allow yourself some extra commute time. We're watching a cluster of showers out in Gulf waters. Hurricane Center's watching it too. They give it about a 40% chance of development. Not just before it makes landfall later today over our area, basically, as probably nothing more than a cluster of storms. But they also are looking at a 40% chance of that developing as it moves out into Atlantic waters, having crossed the state of Florida, where I think it probably has a better chance of development. For us, you can see the swirl in the radar picture pretty clearly there, and it's approaching land, so it doesn't have much time for development. This is not going to be a windstorm, even if it did develop. This is going to be a rain event, and oh my goodness, how the rain will come down. Right now, we're not looking at much in the way of thunderstorm activity, and certainly severe weather is not anticipated, but an isolated instance of some strong gusty winds with some of these storms is not impossible, and certainly the potential of an isolated tornado is really on the low side of probability, but let's not rule it out. Showers just off the coast of Rotunda, and also another cluster of storms moving in toward Bradenton and Sarasota in about a half an hour. We're going to be updating this forecast for you throughout the morning and monitoring these storms very carefully. But suffice it to say, 100% chance of rain showers through the morning commute. Back to you, Ray.
All right, very clear. Thank you, John. Let's check the roads. First off, you see 301 southbound. A little challenge there as you approach State Road 70. Let's go farther south now into Sarasota County. Nothing to speak of right now. We're going to show you a live shot at some point this morning of the situation at Bee Ridge and Tuttle later on in the morning. 41 around Business 41, a little bit of a dust up there. Nothing major to speak of. At 5:33 on your Monday morning. Topping our news this half hour, it should be another busy week at the White House. The president now has a new chief of staff, and major foreign policy challenges remain. ABC's Kenneth Moten has this preview.
Today, General John Kelly will take the reins of the Trump White House.
John Kelly will do a fantastic job.
The Homeland Security Secretary replacing Chief of Staff Reince Priebus, hoping to bring order after a tumultuous 6 months in office for President Trump.
He brought Kelly in for the same reason he brings in successful businessmen and he brings in other generals. He likes people who have accomplished things.
This week, set to be a busy one for the new Chief of Staff. 2 U.S. bombers flew over the Korean peninsula, Japan and South Korea joining the show of force against North Korea after it launched another alarming intercontinental ballistic missile that could potentially reach the U.S. mainland.
Reliability equals credibility, which means we have to take this threat seriously.
Trump blamed China in a tweet saying they do nothing for us with North Korea. We will no longer allow this to continue.
Any military action we take would probably trigger a war unlike anything we've seen since World War II.
The president also expected to greenlight new sanctions against Russia. The bill already sparking retaliation by President Vladimir Putin, who kicked hundreds of U.S. diplomats out of his country. Vice President Pence in Estonia reassuring allies that Russian aggression in the region is unacceptable.
Our allies in Eastern Europe can be confident that the United States of America stands with them.
Despite Russia meddling in the U.S. election, President Trump objected to the new sanctions bill approved by Congress, but we're told he is expected to sign it soon. Kenneth Moten, ABC News, Washington.
The U.S. made a show of force this weekend after North Korea's latest missile test. The U.S. Air Force flew 2 B-1 bombers over the Korean peninsula, joined by South Korean and Japanese fighter jets for the 10-hour round trip. Meantime, the U.S. Missile Defense Agency announced a test of the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, or THAAD system. They say it was a success. The tests come after North Korea fired a ballistic missile Friday that it claims could reach the U.S. mainland. It was their second test this month of a intercontinental long-range weapon. Developing overnight now in South America, senior D.C. officials say the U.S. could announce new sanctions against Venezuela as early as today. The move would be in response to an election held by the Venezuelan president, Nicolas Maduro. Voters are deciding on a new assembly that could rewrite the country's constitution, even though the election was internationally condemned as illegitimate. In fact, critics say it will give Maduro unlimited powers, and frankly, President Trump agreed, he said, saying it erodes any last sign of democracy in Venezuela. We'll have more on these possible sanctions next hour here on Good Morning Suncoast. Russian President Vladimir Putin says he is reducing the number of workers allowed at the U.S. diplomatic mission in Russia. Putin plans to cut more than 700 staffers, which includes U.S. and Russian nationals. The move is in retaliation to new sanctions on Russia that President Trump is expected to sign. That legislation sailed through Congress with almost no opposition last week. It blocks President Trump from easing sanctions against Moscow, too. Putin's cuts limit the number of U.S. diplomats operating in Russia at under 500. Now, that's the same number of Russian diplomats allowed in this country. Former governor turned talk show host Mike Huckabee is issuing an apology for a comment he made on Sunday morning. He tweeted, "A comment I made on Fox this AM was undeservedly harmful and disrespectful to many people. No ifs or buts. I was wrong and I apologize," he wrote. Huckabee was discussing incoming White House Chief of Staff General John Kelly on Fox News. He had said that Kelly faces a learning curve and added, quote, "If you've got 4 stars on your shoulder, you're not a slow learner. You didn't ride the short bus." Huckabee continued that he thought Kelly would do a great job. 5:37 now. Strange story here. A manhunt continues around an upscale resort in the Turks and Caicos after a prominent American lawyer with his family was shot. Michael Jones and his family were in a beachfront rental home on Friday when 2 masked men burst in, overpowering a security guard. Jones is a prominent Washington, D.C. attorney and Georgetown law professor. He reportedly confronted one of the intruders who shot him. The gunman got away with only a laptop computer.
What we don't know is why his shot was discharged, what led up to that shot being discharged. When you come here, don't automatically assume that nothing can happen to you, because we have criminals.
Jones was transferred to a hospital in Hollywood, Florida, where he is now listed in stable condition. In Orlando, police are trying to figure out an explosion in a McDonald's restroom. Restaurant staff and patrons were evacuated as fire crews and deputies examined the scene. Fortunately, no injuries reported, and that investigation continues. Well, we've all heard of road rage, but in Fort Lauderdale, a case of resort rage going viral. Look at this. An investigation is underway after the release of this surveillance video. It happened at the Ocean Sky Resort. It shows a valet attending to a guest when all of a sudden the man knocks him cold right there. Wow. The driver was upset about, wait for it, the price for parking his truck.
Wow, this guy is crazy. It's a criminal. I don't know what happened in his mind.
This person has to go to jail. I think justice needs to be served. No individual should have to go through what Rodolfo suffered.
Wow. The investigation continues, and that victim says he has a sore jaw, I bet. Algae is blooming on Lake Okeechobee, raising concerns of another bloom, like the one that choked nearby waterways with the thick green goo last year. So far, the waterways nearest the lake have been spared, as lake water has not been discharged due to lower lake levels after a spring drought. Still, state water officials have identified a significant algae bloom on the lake due to high temperatures and inflows of polluted runoff from farms and communities. Back in 2016, after record winter rainfalls, a resulting algae bloom caused beaches to close, killed marine life, and also hurt the local economy. There is good news in the fight against toxic algae. Researchers are working on creating an early warning system to spot when algae begins showing up on hundreds of lakes across the country. The project will use satellite data already used to monitor Lake Erie and the Chesapeake Bay, with a goal to eventually watch 1,800 lakes across the country. The plan is to have it in place within 2 years across the continental U.S. Well, on rainy days like this, heat stroke is not a big concern, but today is, National Heat Stroke Prevention Day. Here are some reminders for those who sometimes leave toddlers in hot cars. Experts suggest distracted parents leave their cell phone or purse closer to the toddler's seat so there's no risk of that happening. Now, if you see a child left in a hot car, try to help, even if that means calling 911. Heat stroke is the leading cause of non-crash related vehicle fatalities for kids 14 years and younger in this country. And in the first 6 months of 2017, 26 children nationwide have died of heat stroke after being left in the car when the hot summer temperatures soar. These tips are particularly important. And happening today, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will host local military in the stands at practice. This unique opportunity for invited service members will let them train like Bucs players as part of the USAA's NFL boot camp. Participants will compete in 5 drills similar to those used to evaluate NFL talent. These service members will be able to meet players after a VIP look at their practice. This is all part of the Buccaneers' military day today at training camp. And sadly, the weather will not cooperate.
Might be more appropriate for water polo, but
nice.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're going to have some heavy rainfall for the first half of the day. A flood watch has just been issued for our area as well, for most of west central Florida, actually. Potential exists for some local urbanized flooding, and I think down the road we're going to see some of our streams and rivers exceed bank full as well. Yeah, a lot of rainfall around, and more to come. Talk about it.
Also still ahead is too much sugar leading to anxiety and depression. A new study suggests it might be making things worse, especially in men. Up next in Health Smart.
What to do when your heating or air conditioning needs service or, heaven forbid, replacement? Call Air Now today. We've been serving Sarasota and Manatee counties since 1946. We offer $49.95 tune-ups, lease or finance options, and remember, service today or it's free.
Attention blood thinner users. Thousands of blood thinner users may have been exposed to serious risk by these dangerous medications. If your loved one took Xarelto or Pradaxa and suffered serious internal bleeding, call right now. Call Nightline Legal to speak with an experienced attorney for a free consultation. If we don't win, there is no fee. There are time deadlines to file a claim, so don't wait. Call right now.
Call 1-800-554-3987. Again, that's 1-800-554-3987.
My name is Julius. I have cerebral palsy. I work for Farmer Jeffrey Weising Law Firm. I do a lot of data entry and scanning documents. I want to increase my working experience to make the company much better. At the end of the day, it's good to think of the day's work and to think about what I have accomplished.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to abilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish!
It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Are you a soccer mom or dad? Regardless of their age or experience level, when your kids play soccer or any other sport, there's one person on the sideline who is key to help recognize and seek medical care for sports-related concussion. It's you. You need to know the signs and symptoms of concussion, and you need to act if you think your child has been injured. Remember, when in doubt, sit them out. To learn more, go to cdc.gov/concussion. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004.
That is a pretty good breakfast. You're not even eating.
Not hungry.
No? Why not? What's up?
Kath and I knew that Jenny had been partying a bit. Found out she tried heroin.
Most people don't know what to say about drugs, but we do. Visit us at drugfree.org.
Ever since I can remember, I've been intrigued by industrial design and the optimization.
Wait, that's passion? Ever since I can remember, my passion has been industrial design. We need 3D printers for Miss Adams' engineering program so that we are ready to solve 21st century challenges.
Impressive. Think It Up is a new initiative to support student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classroom today? Think It Up.
Today at 4 on Suncoast View.
I'm Stephanie Roberts on Suncoast View. We're in back-to-school mode this week as we meet a Booker High School coach, plus ADHD tips in JR's Old Packing House Cafe.
Today at 4 on Suncoast View.
Now, the official Suncoast weather with ABC7 meteorologist John Scalzi.
Our cameras are at the corner of Bee Ridge and Tuttle this morning, showing some pretty slippery road surfaces out there. This, of course, an area that is prone to not only traffic congestion in the best of times, but also accidents as well due to the ongoing construction project on that road. And today, matters will be made even worse with showers and thunderstorms. A flood watch has been issued for our area, in fact, for most of the west central part of the state of Florida, as well as a small craft advisory for our area waters because of an area, a cluster of showers and thunderstorms out in Gulf waters that the Hurricane Center continues to monitor for possible development, and its impact on the Suncoast being mostly heavy rainfall. Hence the flood watch. By the way, a flood watch means that conditions are good for the possibility of some localized flooding due to excessive rainfall amounts. It does not mean that a flood is in progress at this time, but it does mean that the potential exists. And I think particularly down the road, we'll see some of our rivers cresting above flood stage as we head into the next several days. And certainly some localized street flooding is possible today under some of these heavier storms. 75 degrees, the air temperature, 2.73. We have an east-southeast wind coming in at about 8. That east-southeast wind will be switching to the southwest and becoming stronger as we head into the afternoon. We could have along the coastline perhaps some 20-mile-an-hour winds, and we'll be watching carefully to see exactly how that evolves in terms of rip current potentials along our area beaches. And, of course, a small craft advisory that's in effect currently. Plus, we have a high tide coming our way this evening at about 9 o'clock. We'll be watching carefully to see how that affects, how those winds might affect perhaps some slosh over along some of our area beach roadways. 76 degrees in Parrish, Bradenton, Lakewood Ranch, Mayaca, 77 in Northport, Inglewood at 78, so is Venice and Longboat Key. There's a frontal boundary sinking southward and clearly a spin evident in the radar imagery right there. That is our developing low pressure area that is moving ever so slowly toward the coastline. Now, it doesn't look all that impressive, and the Hurricane Center does give this about a 40% chance of evolving into something tropical, not only on our Gulf Coast, but also if it holds together as it crosses the state and exits over onto the Atlantic side. I think the potential there is even better if it does indeed hold as it moves across the state. For us, even if that did develop, it wouldn't develop into much more than a tropical depression as it got closer to shore. It's going to be basically a rain producer, and right now some fairly heavy rainfall closing in on areas from Venice northward, and there's been a lot of overnight rainfall. In fact, rainfall amounts have been impressive, coming in some places pretty close to the 3-inch mark, so any additional rainfall could definitely lead to some localized low-lying flooding. A lot of cloud cover across the area. That's associated with that low pressure area moving along this frontal boundary. Onshore winds preceded, as well as these heavy rains as well. So expect those rains heavy at times, especially for the first half of today. Strong onshore winds and possibly some stronger storms included in those shore showers that do develop. All of that cloud cover will produce some, modest winds, but all of the forecast models do suggest that that system will be headed basically towards central Florida over the course of the afternoon and into the evening. Again, the major threat with this is going to be some of the heavier rain. Now, there is some drier air sinking southward, and that could moderate some of the rain showers as we head into tonight and tomorrow. But for today, especially the first half of the day, 100% chance of rainfall, heavy at times. Morning commute could be sloppy, will be sloppy, I should say. And then we'll watch the rain chances return to normal after about 3 days. Back to you.
All right, John, talk to you soon. A build-up there on 301 northbound as you approach State Road 70, otherwise pretty clear right now in Manatee County. Farther south, all clear in the middle of Sarasota County. And South County, one little blip there on the screen southbound as you leave the Business 41 interchange right there. In Health Smart, could eating too many sweets increase your chance of anxiety and depression? Well, a new study found that the long-term risk of mental health disorders increased significantly in men that consume more than 67 grams of sugar daily. American dietary guidelines recommend that added sugar should make up no more than 10% of total daily calories for adults. Too much sugar can also increase the risk of other issues, including obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. Still ahead on Good Morning Suncoast, we'll update the day's top local news headlines, and this cover of a Whitney Houston hit song is going viral. We'll have more on the popular new rendition after this.
Today, everyone is looking for more fashionable choices in flooring than ever before. And G. Fried has responded with a huge selection of carpets, tile, wood, laminate, and vinyl. Installed by a highly skilled team, G. Fried has got everything you're looking for and more. The next time you think about quality flooring, think G. Fried Flooring America. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
What if you had a medical emergency away from home?
My chest hurts. I can't breathe.
What you need is Mobile Help, America's premier mobile medical alert system. Most systems only work at home, but with Mobile Help, you get help outside the home with coverage nationwide on one of the largest cellular networks at the press of a button. Call the number on your screen for a free full-color brochure. We'll send you everything you need, including this base station, the patented mobile device, and the waterproof pendant and wrist button. You can also add the fall button that automatically detects falls and signals help. Call today and receive a risk-free 30-day trial. There is no equipment to buy and no long-term contract. For a limited time, you will also receive a free emergency key box with your plan purchase. Remember, Mobile Help keeps you safe coast to coast.
Call 1-800-916-8638. That's 1-800-916-8638.
We answered the call of duty and left our homes to serve in far-off lands. Now we answer another call, this time at home, in our own communities, to respond in times of chaos, to use our strength, our skills, and our experiences to bring hope amid devastation and destruction. Together, as a team of brothers and sisters, we're continuing our mission to make this country a little stronger and a little better each day. We are Team Rubicon.
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
Yeah, I have questions.
Prescription drugs aren't as bad as street drugs, right?
Weed's legal, isn't it?
Drinking is worse than smoking weed.
Isn't it? Why is
heroin so addictive?
Molly just makes you feel happy.
I have questions.
Mom?
Dad, did you ever try drugs?
They're going to ask. Be ready. Go to drugfree.org. A message from Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
My name's Luke Perry, and I am 1 million strong. I'm in the fight against colorectal cancer because I believe we can win it. Colon and rectal cancers are the second leading cause of cancer deaths among men and women in the U.S. Colon cancer is preventable. Know the risk factors and make sure to get screened. There are simple, take-home options available. Take control of your health. Screening for colon cancer isn't embarrassing. It can be life-saving. To find out more about your options, visit fightcrc.org.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com for Chef Judy's favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at mysuncoast.com/dining.
And that is what you see outside the window this morning. Raindrops on your windowsill and on our Sky Tower lens there as we check out west towards Sarasota Bay. We'll get a better glimpse next hour as the sun starts to rise. 5:55 now on your Monday. Here are some of the top stories making headlines on the Suncoast today. Mote Marine is trying to figure out why a group of dolphins, not usually seen around here, turned up on Turtle Beach. One of the dolphins didn't make it back out in the water and died. A one-car crash early Sunday morning killed a driver on State Road 64 east of the interstate. The passenger survived with injuries. And high honors for a Suncoast Girl Scout. 14-year-old Faith Holliday won the coveted Gold Award for her work for our community, particularly with animals. This 9-year-old boy with Down syndrome is now an internet sensation for his rendition of Whitney Houston's 1993 hit, I Have Nothing. Dane Miller was in the car with his dad when he began to sing out this song. A relative in the car shared it on Facebook, and now it has gone viral. The Miller family has even created a YouTube channel for Dane called Amazing Dane, D-A-N-E, after this video has reached 5 million views. A little spontaneous singing there.
He is in the zone.
He wasn't born when that song first came out.
I know.
His parents hadn't met yet.
Exactly.
That's great.
That's awesome. Showers and thunderstorms in the forecast, flood watch in effect. We'll talk about it.
More of that, more local news after this. Stay with us, folks. Good morning.